What's up everybody, Tenacious here. Welcome back to my channel. Or for anyone new to my channel, welcome, thank you for the sub. I know it's been a long time since I've been posting any content. It's basically because I stopped playing Fallout, to be honest. And as tempted as I was to, maybe upload some other stuff from other games, I feel that that's not really what this channel's about. It always has been Fallout. Probably always will be Fallout. But that aside, quite a lot's changed since the last time I uploaded, whenever that was. I've actually moved away from PlayStation. Yep. I've also moved away from last gen. So, like most people on the planet, I did just struggle to get a hold of a PS5. But what I did do, just to sort of fill some sort of void, I actually went out and got myself an Xbox One, an Xbox One S, purely just to play a bit of Fallout 4. With some proper mods and just have a bit of fun with that. Because 6-7 years on, however long it is, I'm still very much addicted to Fallout 4 as well. So I done that, had a little play about, had a lot of fun, and then the opportunity surfaced to get my hands on a Xbox Series X. And to be honest, I didn't even think twice about it, jumped at the opportunity. So hence I've now converted over to Xbox. But I'll tell you what, like, next gen is just, it's a different animal. It's a completely different animal. And also, when I got the Series X about 3 months ago, a couple of weeks down the line, I decided to download 76 again through Game Pass. And started that again. And what a completely different experience it is on next gen, guys. Like, it's completely rejuvenated the game for me. It runs a lot better, it looks a lot better, better graphics, it's running 60 frames per second, no load times, it's ridiculous. It's just so much more enjoyable on next gen, guys. So I can only, recommend, if you get the chance to go next gen, absolutely do it. But most people already know that anyway. But yeah, so that's what kind of rejuvenated the game for me. So yeah, been building up a brand new account over on Xbox. Luckily, I had a few friends over here already that's helped me out, helped me get established. And I've now got a fully established account, multiple fully established characters. I've got all the gear that I need really. And I'll tell you what, I've got a much better profile here already than I ever did over in PlayStation. Because I was losing my motivation over in PlayStation. I was just getting real bored of it, and yeah, I just, simply put it, I wasn't arsed about it anymore. But that's all changed. Tenacious is back. He's on a brand new platform with some brand new players, and he's loving life again. But moving on from that, guys, the reason for today's video, you would have saw the content I've dropped a couple of days ago. This is just me sort of getting a feel for the YouTube scene again. I have missed it, I've missed you guys. Hopefully you've missed me as well. But like I said, that's me back, and I'm hoping to continue this YouTube Fallout journey going forward. So on that note, guys, please drop a like, drop a subscribe. It's the only way you'll keep up to date with any future crazy Fallout content, and also any future build tutorials, which is exactly what I'm here today to talk to you guys about. So there's been a lot of hype the last 2 or 3 days surrounding a new build that I've put together. And that build is the Juggernaut. Yeah. Before we get into it properly, I must give a shout out to a fellow Wastelander who I actually met in High Risk just a few days ago. She actually gave me the idea for this build. So just want to give Des a little shout out. Her gamer tag is Mom's Fault, so if you ever bump into her in the wasteland, super cool chick. She gave me the idea for this build. It was a bit of a funny one. Like, we done a bit of PvP and high risk. We got chatting after it, and she was talking about, you know, completing the atom challenges. And the one she was moving on to was the unarmed challenge. But the way she put it across to me, I thought she meant it was a challenge based on, you know, using your actual fists. And right away, you know, all these light bulbs started exploding in my head, and just straight on the spot, I came up with the idea for this build. But following that, it turns out no, it's just a generic unarmed build. Just, you know, a generic unarmed challenge. But nonetheless, thank you to Des for actually giving me this idea, and you know, I'm just happy that it's actually working out, and it's getting, you know, a bit of recognition. So what is the Juggernaut? The Juggernaut is, as I briefly explained, it's an unarmed PA build. Yeah, Power Armour unarmed build. So no weapons, just bare fists. Yeah. Sounds crazy, but it works, yeah? So you guys have seen the content that I've dropped the last couple of days. You've saw it in action, in PvE, and also PvP. You know, it's a super fun build, guys. It's crazy, it's exciting, and it's definitely unique. So without further ado, guys, let's get straight into the build. So here's the basic setup, guys. You know, it's nothing special. You know, it's pretty much your standard sort of melee setup. So obviously, with any melee build, what you want to be doing is maxing out that strength, because of course, the more strength, the more damage you'll do in melee. Yeah, and that includes unarmed. So obviously, we're going to go with 15 strength. For perception, I actually made a little bit of a boo-boo. I messed this up. I accidentally ranked up the perception cards that I had in there, which was just a gap filler for the time being. I accidentally ranked that up when I meant to remove that and rank up something else. So unfortunately, I'm stuck with 3 perception at the moment, but it should only be 2. And I'm stuck with 14 endurance, but it was supposed to be 15. Obviously, that's for the PvP side of the build. But 3 perception, 14 endurance, 6 charisma, 8 intelligence, 3 agility, and 8 luck. So first card in strength, guys, I've got Travelling Pharmacy. Reduce the weight of all my chems and stim packs by 90%. Yeah, I carry loads of stims, I carry loads of chems, it just helps reduce the weight of them. Might be different for you guys. You might not need to run it, so you can always swap that out for something else. But for me, Travelling Pharmacy. Next in strength, one of the most important cards for the build, Iron Fist. Yeah, punching attacks now do plus 20% damage. Definite must have. Next, we've got a really fun card, really interesting one, Pain Train. Yeah, for anyone that's never used Pain Train before, I highly recommend giving it a shot. It's a really fun card to use. So basically, when you sprint into enemies, you'll stagger them. In PvE, you'll actually send shit flying sometimes. Yeah, it's hilarious. But it also helps you for PvP as well. Yeah, if you sprint into your target, you're going to stagger them. Yeah, you're going to knock them, make them vulnerable to attack. And if you land Pain Train and you know, you happen to proc your Exploding Fist in that as well, when all that's happening at the same time, it is actually devastating. Yeah, so you're staggering them with a Pain Train, you're hitting them in a VATS, you know, it's crazy, But a really good card to have, guys, really beneficial. Next, we've got Blocker. Yeah, take 45% less damage from melee attacks. It's more a PvE card, this one. But because we're a CQC build, we're getting up close and personal. That just makes you a lot more tanky, yeah, to all melee attacks. So especially like, you know, ghouls and shit like that, and super mutants coming up whacking you with their silly little super sticks. You know, that definitely helps you be a lot more tankier. And last card in strength, again, one of the most important cards for this build, Incisor. Your melee and unarmed weapons ignore 75% of your target's armour. Yeah, so basically your melee equivalent of stabilised for for your heavy guns. So definite must-have card again. Moving on to perception. Like I said, I messed that up. That should only be 2 perception. So Grenadier. Grenadier, believe it or not, actually works with Exploding Palm. Yeah. Now Tia, the big Fallout YouTuber over in PC, he actually done some testing with us not so long ago, and actually confirmed that it does work with Exploding Palm and other explosions. So it'll basically detonate with twice the radius. So it only makes your punching attacks more devastating at the end of the day. So top card there. Moving on to endurance. I've got 2 in Chemfiend. You know, that's supposed to be 3 because I'm supposed to have 15 in endurance. But 2 in Chemfiend. You know, I just like my chems to last longer. Bit of a personal preference again. But with that, all my chems will last 60% longer. Next, we've got Lead Belly. Take no radiation from eating or drinking. You know, highly recommended for bloody builds. Yeah, because if you eat any food, or use your nukas or your canned coffee, this will prevent you from taking rads for that. Because you want to, you know, you don't want to be messing up your rad level basically. Next, Solar Powered. Really good card. It's just a shame that it only works during daytime hours. So between 6 AM and 6 PM game time, you'll get 3 strength for extra damage and 3 endurance for extra max health. So really good card, guys. Again, at night time, you can always swap that out for something else. Me, I'm just a bit lazy, can't be bothered switching cards in and out. So I'm happy just to leave it in there. But there's other options. Next, we've got Cola Nut. Pretty straightforward. Just makes my nukas more effective. 3 times more beneficial. Next, pretty standard card across all builds. We've got Fireproof. Yeah, take 45% less damage from explosions and flame attacks. Yeah, it's a must-have, especially for PvP, because all you do is fight explosive weapons or flamers, or both. Explosive flamers. So, yeah, definite must-have card again. And last but not least, Radicool. Yeah, more so for your bloody setup. So the greater your rads, the greater your strength increase. So 20% health, nerd rage level, you're going to get +5 to your strength. Yeah, definite must-have. Moving on to Charisma. First card is Field Surgeon. So stims and radaways are more effective. More so for your stims. So because we're bloodied, you basically get instant regen with your stims and then regen over time following that. So really good card. Strange in numbers. It just boosts your mutations by 25%. Yeah. OP for the likes of, you know, talons, twisted muscles, that sort of thing. So you do more damage and it buffs your resistances for like scaly skin and grounded, etc, etc. And last card in Charisma, we've got Tenderizer. Again, just for a bit extra damage output. Target receives 10% more damage for 10 seconds after the first attack. Moving on to intelligence. First card, surprise, surprise, we've got Nerd Rage. Yeah. So while below 20% health, we'll gain 40 damage resist, we'll do 20% more damage, and our AP will regen 15% faster. Highly recommended card. And next in intelligence, we've got Demolition Expert. Again, this synergises with Grenadier, Exploding Palm. You know, try and max it out if you can. Not overly necessary, but it definitely helps your cause. Yeah, because all the explosive damage that you do, that's what ignores damage cap, because it's indirect damage. So the more of that you can do, yeah, the better it's going to be. Next, agility. Now, agility is going to be situational for everyone. My situation is, ideally, your first choice card would be Action Boy. Because we rely heavily on AP and VATs, you would want Action Boy. Me, personally, I don't need it. I've got a full set of powered armour already, so you know, any Action Boy would just be wasted, just be useless, because it caps out at a certain level. So instead, I've got Through Hiker. That's for all my nukas, all my canned coffee, and anything else that I might be running. So I kind of depend on Through Hiker right now. But if you were full health, you might want to throw in Born Survivor. Yeah, 40% health will automatically proc a stim pack, and that works for any stims. Yes, that's a really good card for a full health build. Again, situational, personal preference. And lastly, we've got Luck. So, Bloody Mess, pretty standard cards. Again, it's just a damage buff, so 15% bonus damage. A lot of people don't particularly like Bloody Mess. They think it's not really worth the 3 points because it's quite a small increase now. But at the end of the day, my opinion is that every little helps. Yeah, especially in the PvP scene. You know, weapons do little enough damage at times. So the more damage output, the better, in my opinion. Next, we've got Class Freak. Again, situational and personal preference. Most PvPers out there with any sort of experience tend to not run Class Freak. Because they just craft and pop their mutations or serums every hour or as and when they need to, so they don't need to run Class Freak. That's what I do on my main. You know, frees up 3 extra points to put somewhere else. But for me, I'm not too bothered about that for this build. So I'm just going to go with Class Freak. And lastly, you know, any build. Any player that has mutations should have this card. So, Starts Genes, you'll never mutate from Rads, and Radaway will never cure mutations. Yeah, just mutation control. So, that's it for the base cards, guys. Again, you know, it's a pretty straightforward setup. There's only 2 Legendary Perception there. So, without that, you could still put this build together. Very easily with your base points. So as I said, nothing special. But that's that, guys. Let's move on to the legendary cards. So for legendary cards, guys, there's 2 main cards that you're going to be running. 2 must-have cards, or this build is useless, basically. But those cards are Exploding Palm and Hack and Slash. Yeah. What does Exploding Palm do? So, while unarmed, aka your fists, and of course this works alongside like power fists and gauntlets and those sort of weapons as well. But 20% chance of triggering an explosion on attack hits. Right, because I've got this maxed out, I've got a 20% chance. But to be honest, like, it seems to proc a lot more frequently than meets the eye. You know, for it only being a 20% chance, it seems to proc a lot more frequent. But I'm not sure if it has a similar sort of visual effect to hack and slash or what. I don't know, it's kind of hard to distinguish. I might do some testing later on, you know, I'll just take the cards off and just run one at a time or something, just to, you know, completely sort of fathom it out. But nonetheless, you need that exploding palm there, because as discussed earlier as well, that will synergise with Grenadier, and Demo Expert will help that as well. Second card in my legendary deck. I mean, most of these are going to be down to personal preference, apart from Exploding Palm and Hack and Slash. But I've got Power Armour Reboot there. Now I know this is a really OP card for any Power Armour build. I've run this maxed out for my main PvP build. So basically, with level 1, I've got a 15% chance to auto revive with full health if I'm downed. So essentially, if you die, you get an extra life. It will just completely regen all your health as if nothing happened. You don't like get knocked and then revived the way like Mysterious Saviour works. It's nothing like that. You just completely auto refill your health. It's a very OP card, and it does trigger quite a lot. I do feel that it seems to trigger more with a full health setup rather than a bloodied setup. But at the end of the day, that'll give us a little chance to auto revive if we do die. Really good card. Next card, again, personal preference, but it definitely helps the cause. It works really well, and that's Power Sprinter, which I will be looking to rank up, you know, further along down the line. But while in Power Armour, sprinting consumes 20% fewer action points. Now, it doesn't sound like a massive deal, but here's what makes it a really good card. It actually counters the negative effect of the overdrive servos that I'm using on my legs. So overdrive servos increase your sprint speed, but also increase your AP drain. This card counters that, so you don't use any more AP than normal. So, and of course, the higher you rank that up, the less AP you are going to use naturally. So yeah, quite a clever card to use. And then of course we've got all that all important hack and slash. I've got it maxed out, so 50% chance for melee VATS attacks to do area damage. Yeah. Again, not fully distinguished the difference between that and Exploding Palm, whether hack and slash causes an explosion, but it does area damage anyway. Yeah, so if it does, you know, it's going to work with like Grenadier, Demo Expert, whatever. But all of that combined, it is simply devastating. So melee VATS attacks do area damage, and it's obviously all that area damage the ignores damage cap. So that's why, you know, you can 1 and 2 tap players, and 1 and 2 tap most PvE mobs as well. So yeah, must have. Next, it's that dodgy perception. We ain't even going to talk about that. So yeah, I mean, in the end up, guys, you're going to have a couple of spare slots. Again, down to personal preference, what you want in there. There's a lot of good legendary cards. You can maybe take a bit of taking one for the team or something, where, you know, after you attack, it basically stacks damage, or when you get attacked, you will do more damage back. That's taking one for the team. That's a good card. You might want to run that. But me personally, in fact, I think I'm going to switch to that, to be honest. But what I've had in my deck is Brawling Chemist. More so, it was a bit of a spare slot. I thought I'd check this out and see what this combat enhancing chem is all about. To be honest, it's nothing special. I've kept it in my build so I could show you guys what it actually is. But right now, I'm actually going to take Brawling Chemist off, and I'm going to put on taking one for the team. But yeah, that's the cards, guys. again, hope that helps. I hope you can see, you know, what makes this build so OP. And of course, I'm always open to suggestions or advice from you guys. If you guys could think of, you know, maybe a slightly better setup or slightly better cards to use, I'm all ears, man. I'm all ears. Talk to me, talk to the community, and yeah, but that's the build, guys. So, moving on. Next, we'll take a look at the mutations. Right, so what we got then? So with this build, you are running quite a lot of mutations, to be fair. But you'll see in a second why this set of mutations is so overpowered. So with, you know, any sort of bloody build, what you're going to want to run is Adrenal Reaction. Yeah, pretty standard mutation across all bloody setups. So the lower your health, the more damage you'll do. So it basically naturally triggers a bloodied effect for all your weapons. Yeah, that includes your fists. So with your bloody setup, yeah, you'll do more damage naturally through Adrenal Reaction. Next, I've got Bird Bones. Not overly required, you know, especially because it actually gives you a minus strength. I don't like that, but the reason I always run Bird Bones is because I don't like slamming down and being staggered a lot. Because if you don't run Bird Bones, even if you're just, you know, dropping from your average marsupial jump height, you're gonna slam down, you're gonna be staggered, and that makes you vulnerable for a second or two. I don't like that, so that's why I keep Bird Bones in there, just for that soft, smooth landing. Unless, you know, I'm really high, then you're expected to slam down and stagger. But other than that, yeah, it just prevents that from happening. So that's why I run Bird Bones. Carnivore. Personal preference, really. I just feel that Carnivore is better for your tanky foods. Your tanky foods, such as, you know, your HP buffs, your AP buffs. But I know there is herbivore alternatives. I'm just not a herbivore guy. Never have been, never will be. So for me, it's Carnivore. And I'll talk to you about the meats afterwards as well. Next mutation, I've got Electrically Charged. I actually contracted this accidentally and decided just to keep it in my build. Again, it works well along with Blocker and the fact that we're a CQC close range build. So yeah, when you're attacked, you get a chance to proc an electric shock there, which can damage anything in close vicinity. So it only helps your cause. And because you've got Blocker, I feel that, you know, you don't take any damage yourself from Electrically Charged. I feel that it just sponges it. So yeah, not a bad mutation to have. Grounded, purely for that energy resist. Healing factor, you know, for obvious reasons. When you're not in combat, you'll regen your health. It's not overly required, to be fair. If you prefer just to rely on stims or go to sleep to reheal, that's entirely up to you. Because with this, your chems actually decrease effectiveness by 13%. That's with rank 3 class freak. But personal preference, it's a pretty standard mutation to have with most builds. Marsupial, that's the obvious carry weight and jump height. Plague Walker. Now, this is probably the most interesting mutation that you'll run with this build. And it is extremely OP, guys. Extremely OP. So, what's Plague Walker? It's basically the same effect as Strangler Power Armour. Yeah, when you're close to something, when you're close to a target, you'll do area damage with acid. But with Plague Walker, it's poison. So it's more powerful. And it's never been nerfed the way the Strangler Heart has. We all know that used to be super overpowered, but that's been nerfed massively. But Plague Walker, same idea. So when you've contracted a disease, that will trigger your poison aura. And the more diseases you have, the more powerful it is. Yeah. I kind of struggle to, you know, pick up any more than one disease at a time. But if you can stack that, oh my days, it'll be extremely OP. What I tend to do, because I'm running Lead Belly, you know, I'm safe to spam like Dirty Water, for example. As long as you've not popped a rad away, you've got no resistance against picking up diseases. So what I tend to do, I'll just go and collect a load of Dirty Water and I'll just sit and spam that. I'll spam that until I've got diseases that I want, and then that will trigger your Plague Walker. And it's super OP. Like you've saw it in one of my videos, the PvP video that I dropped. The first kill, it was actually Plague Walker that you know, that finished him off. It was Plague Walker that done the damage there. Because I hit him once, took his health down to minimal. Plague Walker done the rest. So you can almost guarantee that will finish the job for you if required. So really OP mutation. Next, Scaly Skin. That's just DR and ER. 50 of each. Speed Demon. Yeah, movement speed. What works alongside, obviously, Power Sprinter, Overdrive Servos, all that kind of synergizes. So you need Speed Demon for the movement speed. And Talons. 25% unarmed damage plus bleed damage. Yeah, so with the bleed damage, with your Plague Walker, again, all that stacks, and you're starting to see what makes this build so overpowered. And then, of course, Twisted Muscles, even more additional melee damage on top, with a chance to cripple. But, you know, it's normally game over before you even get the chance to cripple them. But, yeah, really good set of mutations, guys. For this build, it's probably one of the most complex set of mutations. But you can see how it all works together, how it all synergizes, and what makes this build so OP. Yeah, hope that helps, guys. Moving on, we'll move on to foods and aid. So we'll start off with the aid, guys. You know, there's not a lot to your aid items. Easily obtainable stuff. Besides your stims, the two main chems that I run for your damage output, you're going to want to get Overdrive. Overdrive gives you plus 15% damage, plus 15% crit damage, and of course, because we're a VATS build, you will rely on some crits from time to time. Overdrive only helps your cause there. The other main chem that I run is Psycho Buff. So pretty standard PvP chem, plus 25% damage, and it's really good for a melee build because it gives you plus 3 strength as well. Also plus 3 endurance, plus 65 max health. So for every endurance point, you get plus 5 max HP. So overall, you're getting plus 80 max HP with Psycho Buff. And with the strength, you get something like, I don't even know how much damage output you get per strength, but it's decent. So plus 25% damage, plus 3 strength, that'll increase your melee damage output. The only other alternative chem that's any use for a melee build is Fury. Fury gives you plus 30% melee damage buff. But I've tested it, you do seem to get more damage out your Psycho Buff, and you get more buffs on top of that. So you're better off your Psycho Buff, guys. And the only other chem that I wanted to show you was this Super Chem Mark 1. That's what you get from Brawling Chemist Legendary card. It's decent enough. It's basically a Fury on steroids. 30% melee damage, 25 damage resist, and plus 2 strength. Still better off with the Psycho Buff, but it's up to you guys. If you want to farm this, yeah, pop on that card. Other than that, I've got Berry Mentats. You know, if you're fighting a you know, someone in a stealth boy, Berry Mentats definitely helps. And remember, these stack, so always start off with a Berry Mentats, and you can pop your overdrive, which is a base chem, and then you can run anything else you want on top of that. So Berry Mentats, overdrive, cycle buff, they all stack. And last but not least, we've got unarmed bobbleheads here. Yeah, plus 25% increase to your unarmed damage. So if you can get a hold of some of them guys, I'd highly recommend it. Moving on to food. Obviously, the main foods that you want to be running is anything that increases strength and anything that increases melee damage. The best foods for both that I've found is, for your strength, Deathclaw Wellington. Yeah, with your strange in numbers and carnivore, you'll get plus 8 strength. Yeah, that's super OP. For melee damage, the best food that I've found is Yao-Guai Roast. That will give you plus 37% melee damage. Yeah, but of course those two are prepared foods. There's only 2 ways to get them. You either craft them up with multiple ingredients, or you can pick them up at White Springs. You can get these at White Springs restaurant. You just nip up the stairs from the main entrance, take a right, and go right along to the restaurant, and you can pick up these foods there. The best alternatives are quite easy to farm. For your strength, the best food is Stingwing or Deathclaw. Yeah, cook them up and they'll give you a plus 5 strength. For your melee damage, either Yao-Guai or Glowing Meat. Yeah, Yao-Guai, it's not hard to find to research some spots where they spawn. I normally nip across to Silo A, Silo Alpha. There's always a Yao-Guai there. Or if you go up to somewhere in the map that you normally find 2 Yao-Guais, it's kind of north of the Cranberry Bog. I think it's Max Farm. General Steakhouse. Max Farm, it's somewhere between Max Farm and General Steakhouse. There's a little cabin thing, and you always get 2 Yao-Guais there. Easy for that. That'll give you plus 25% melee damage. Or glowing meat steak. You know, anywhere you go, you'll find glowing enemies. Pick up their meat. Happy days. Plus 25% melee damage. Other than that, guys, the only other foods you want to be running is, because we're an AP VATS based build, you'll probably want to increase your AP. So, best foods for that. Poached Angler or Soft Shell Mirelurk. That will give you plus 50% AP regen. Mirelurk, plenty of Mirelurk spots, easy to farm. Poached Angler, again, you can pick these up normally at White Springs restaurant as well, or White Springs vendor. There's a gourmet vendor inside White Springs. You know, they sell a lot of good recipes if you're up to the farming, and also the vendor that sells the meats. You can only pick up the meat that you need there as well. Happy days. And for agility increase, agility buffs, that increases your max AP as well. The easiest one I've found is Squirrel on a Stick. Squirrel on a Stick, 9 times out of 10 you'll pick up from White Springs train station. But again, you can also get that over at White Springs Resort. That'll give you 8 agility, and that'll increase your max AP there. On top of that, you know, if you want to buff up good and proper, you want max HP foods and endurance foods. The best max HP food is either Fashnat sausage, which is ridiculously, practically impossible to get unless you've unlocked the recipe through Fashnat, or Cranberry Meatball Cobbler, which you can also buy at White Springs. But Cranberry Meatball Cobbler is actually bugged. It's been bugged for a very long time, so I wouldn't recommend that. Basically, once you get your plus 100 max HP, if you die, it wears off. So that's no good. But if you can get Fashnat sausage, that will give you a plus 100 max HP. Super OP. And then, obviously, with your strange in numbers, you get an even bigger buff. I think you'll get 112 max HP in total. So really, really good. The best alternatives is for endurance as well. Your easiest food to farm is Scott's Beast Heart. Yeah, we're always fighting Scott's Beast. Collect those hearts, cook them up, you'll get +8 endurance. I think that will give you +40 max HP in total. But for your max HP, your best alternative is blood bug or hot dogs. Yeah, blood bug meat you can find mainly at White Springs train station or White Springs Resort, because, don't know why, but this has been a thing for a while. You can farm all the blood bugs in the world and they'll never ever drop any meat for you. You cannot get meat from the blood bugs. Don't know if that's an oversight from Bethesda or what, but it's not very ideal. But easy enough to get from train station and the resort. And your other best alternative is hot dogs. Now, there's hot dogs all over the map. Yeah, the best spot in my opinion is Poseidon. Yeah, if you go to Poseidon, climb up on top of the main building, look for, where the car park is, that main building. If you climb up on top of that, head towards the back, you should see like large black kind of generators. What to do is jump down behind that, and there's a little ledge. There's a little ledge there, and there's a little teddy bear picnic going on. And you can find up to 8 hot dogs on that little ledge. If you're struggling to find it, I'm sure there's clips on YouTube showing you exactly where it is. I think in one of my videos I've actually showcased that as well. But hot dogs, they spoil super quick, but it takes a couple of minutes to nip there, grab those, get them down your neck, and then happy days, you've got a good HP buff there. Other than that, guys, the only other foods you would maybe want is energy resist foods. Easiest one to farm is Rad Scorpion, or we tend to find a lot of Mega Sloths down at Queen Fights. Grab that meat and that'll give you a good energy resistance buff there. But the best energy resistance foods, which you can pick up over at White Springs, is Rad Scorpion Fillet or Filet and Rad Stag Stew. They give you the highest energy resistance buff there. So that's it, guys. That's it for the aid and the foods. Again, hopefully that helps. Only one last thing to look at now, and it's my gear. So what makes this build what it is? What makes the Juggernaut the Juggernaut? And that's power armour. Yeah, the single most effective weapon for this entire build. It'll still be relatively viable without power armour, but obviously you won't have the additional strength buff and you won't have the same sort of tankiness. So power armour all the way, guys. But the question is, what power armour? There's plenty of options. There's just been a massive power armour dupe as well, so there's plenty of god tier options. But to this date, the tankiest power armour is still your T65. Yeah, that offers the best resistances in terms of damage and energy. So best option for tankiness. Besides that, T51. Yeah. But what I'm running at the moment, I've got Ultra Sight. Because that was the most commonly duped armour recently as well. Many... I do apologise. You get many different, legendary sets. But at the end of the day, it's down to what you guys have or what you can get your hands on. But in terms of, legendary effects, obviously for PvP, you want assassins. Yeah, that is the main prefix that you want. You want assassins. Because that's minus 15% damage from humans, players or otherwise. So assassins, because I've got PSA at the moment, powered Sentinel Assassins. So obviously Assassins is good, powered's good, like AP refresh. It's just Sentinel that's not best ideal for this build. What you want is Cavaliers. Yeah, which would work for PvE and PvP. Cavaliers, it gives you the same effect as Sentinel, but while you're sprinting. So 75% chance to reduce damage by 15% while you're sprinting. That is your best option for your power armour. And obviously for PvP, for PvE, you wouldn't necessarily rely on assassins. You might want bolstering for bloody builds, and for full health, it's typically vanguards. However, there's been a new prefix added recently, overeaters. There's been a lot of new prefixes added, but overeaters is actually really good as well, which works well low health and high health. Yeah, so with overeaters, when your food and water bars are full, you're going to get a full 6% damage reduction. Yeah, so with 5 pieces, that's an extra 30% damage reduction. When you use that as a bloody build, that alongside your emergency protocols, you're going to get a plus 80% damage reduction, which is pretty ridiculous. So it's a very, very good option as well, if you can get a overeaters set. But obviously, you can improve your power armour even further with particular mods. So what I'm actually running at the moment is, for the chest, emergency protocols, like I mentioned there, that reduces incoming damage by 50% at 25% or below health, and it also gives you a movement speed increase as well, apparently. Other chest options, if you're high health, you might want medic pump, gives your power armour an auto stim effect, but please note that only works with regular stims, not super stims. Or if you want an AP regen increase, you might want core assembly, which adds a built-in AP refresh effect, or also kinetic dynamo, which increases AP regen when you're taking damage. But that all depends, how many, powered pieces you've got in your set, or what action boy you're running, etc, etc. It all caps out at some level, so it would be impossible to overkill it, like running core assembly with powered PCs and action boy. That would just be useless. Yeah, it caps out at a certain point. So yeah, again, just depends what you've got, but you can mess about with it, tweak it to your taste. On the arms, you've got two options for this unarmed build. Me personally, I'm running hydraulic bracers. For each arm, that'll give me plus 15 unarmed damage. So I've got plus 30 unarmed damage in total with the hydraulic bracers. I've not tried Rusty Knuckles. That just adds a bleed effect. It doesn't do anything for the damage. So, not sure how overpowered that is. Maybe some of you guys know. You can let me know in the comments or whatever. But of course, we're already getting a bleed effect from Talons. I mean, it might stack. I'm not sure. But for me, I'm running hydraulic bracers. And then, interestingly enough, sorry guys, my throat has been terrible the last couple of days. Somebody give me a Strepsil, man. For the legs, interestingly enough, I did mention earlier that I'm running overdrive servos, which increases sprint speed and it also increases AP drain. Forget that. Forget all about that. Yeah, I've just tested it, and I just had a little race. I set up two drop bags, got the stopwatch out, and I just tested it with and without my legs on. No difference. No difference at all. So scrap overdrive servos, guys. Unsure what the problem is. Unsure if it just doesn't stack with Speed Demon, or whether it's just a broken mod at the moment. No idea. But as it stands, scrap that. What I'm going to change my legs to is optimised servos, which reduces AP drain for sprinting. Yeah, so that will then stack with Power Sprinter, and I'll use even less AP when I'm sprinting. So that's what I'm going to change it to. Optimised servos. The other main option for your legs. I mean, you shouldn't need calibrated shocks with this build. You're not carrying any gear, you know. So kinetic servos. That would be your other good option as well. That increases AP regen while moving. So a couple of options there. Other than that, that's the only mods that you would typically require for this build. Yeah, so I think I've pretty much covered it. So that's the Juggernaut, guys. Hopefully this helps, and if you enjoyed this Fallout 76 build tutorial, please drop a like, drop a subscribe to stay up to date with any future build guides and any future crazy Fallout content. But as always, thanks for watching. Stay safe, have fun. I'm Tenacious. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.